Part 41. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 405. Thank you Taoist Ye for your help. Ao-kun raised his hand. Haha, the Dragon King is too polite. After a pause, I wonder what the Dragon King said. The second thing is. Ao-kun stared at Ye Gaiun with his eyes and said slowly. 6 days ago, my ninth prince Ao Shen was killed. What? The ninth prince is dead. Seeing the look of shock on Ye Gaiun's face, Ao-kun nodded and said in his heart, it seems that this is not the fault of the Xianjing division. From the moment he came in, he had been observing Ye Gaiun's expression, and there was nothing strange about it from beginning to end. If his son's death was really related to the Xianjing division, there would be no way that Ye Gaiun would not have any flaws. Ao-kun's face showed a deep sadness and he nodded slowly. Ye Gaiun was shocked. The Longjiang aquatic tribe is a powerful force comparable to Suanjingsi, Kunlun, White Horse Temple and the Black Heart Demon section who would provoke them. As soon as the idea came up, Su Junming's figure flashed in his mind, but he quickly shook his head. Since the Black Heart Demon sect was annihilated, Su Junming has disappeared without a trace, and his puppet bodies rarely appear in the world. Moreover, although the Longjiang Shui tribe is a demon tribe, they have not done many bad things over the years, and they can also ensure smooth weather on both sides of the Longjiang River, which is a great merit. They should not be targeted by the jealous Su Junming. My condolences to the Dragon King. Our Xianjing division will definitely do our best to help the Dragon King find the real culprit who killed the ninth prince. Ao-kun would like to thank fellow Taoist Ye in advance. Dragon King, you don't have to be polite. After cupping his fists and saluting, Ao-kun looked directly at Ye Gaiun. When I come this time, I also hope that fellow Taoist Ye will allow Xianjing SITNG Pavilion to deduce how my son was killed. Ao-kun waved his hand, and 3 jade boxes flew to Ye Gaiun. I will not let Xianjing SI do it in vain. Please accept these gifts, fellow Taoist Ye. Divine consciousness is immersed, and the treasures in the 3 jade boxes are reflected in the sea of consciousness. Yu Soul Spiritual Water, Dongming's middle grade spiritual water, 9 drops in total. Ambergris, the best spiritual grass from De Dong, there are 3 in total. Dragon Scales, top grade from Big Cave, 15 pieces in total. As soon as he made a move, there was 1 whole level spiritual material and 2 large whole level spiritual materials. The Dragon clan's reputation as a wealthy family was indeed extraordinary. Ye Gaiun was not polite and waved his hand to accept the 3 treasures. The Xianjing division has always been on good terms with the Longjiang Shui tribe. It is also my responsibility, the Xianjing division, to avenge the ninth prince. I will never refuse the Dragon King's request. After that he stood up. Dragon King, please follow me. Fellow Taoist Ye, please come first. Ye Gaiun smiled faintly and walked out with Ao-kun. Like the Suanjingsi Yamen in other provincial cities, the Suanjingsi headquarters in Zhongzhou City is also a tall pagoda-shaped building. Tianji Pavilion has a respected status and is located on the 2nd floor, second only to the Hongtu Pavilion on the top floor. The Hongtu Pavilion is the place where previous Xianjing division envoys practiced and discussed affairs. Dong dong. Along with the knock on the door, a series of footsteps approached. With a squeak sound, a boy wearing a black long coat, about 8 or 9 years old, opened the door. Seeing Ye Gaiun, he quickly greeted him. Gu Hong pays homage to the governor. Xiao Gu Hong, is your master here? The boy nodded. You go in and announce that I'm here. Master already knows and has specially ordered me to invite the governor and the Dragon King to come in. Seeing this scene, Ao-kun felt secretly in his heart. It is rumored that the status of the Tianji Pavilion master of the Xianjing division is no worse than that of the Zhenfu envoy. Now it seems that the rumors are true. Seeing Ye Gaiun go in, Ao-kun quickly followed him in. A refreshing fragrance like orchid and musk deer, which made people feel clear and clear, rushed into his lungs. After walking around a screen dotted with a few bamboos, my vision instantly broadened. In the hall, which is more than 200 square meters, 8 huge pillars support the roof in a trigram shape. In the middle is a 5-foot-tall 3-legged copper stove with green smoke curling up. The aroma that fills the entire palace comes from this. 3 feet away opposite the copper stove, there is a 7-foot-wide bagua platform. Behind the bagua platform is a screen wall with a 3-foot-wide Tai Chi diagram embossed on the screen wall. There is a yellow cloth futon in the center of the bagua table, and sitting cross-legged on the futon is an old Taoist with white beard and hair, wearing a ge robe. Although this old man looks old on the outside, his face is like that of a baby, his fingers are smooth, and he looks like he has regained his youth. Master, the guardian envoy and the dragon king of Longjiang are here. After the boy finished speaking, the old Taoist slowly opened his eyes as deep as the abyss, making people dare not look down upon him. Ye Gaiun pays homage to the master of Tianji Pavilion. Ao Kun also bowed and saluted. Tianji Pavilion is a relatively aloof place in the Xianjing division. Its appointments and dismissals do not require the consent of the Xianjing division, but are passed down from master to apprentice. And if the Xianjing division wants the master of Tianji Pavilion to help calculate, it is not impossible, but there are only 3 opportunities a month, and gifts must be given. Your Majesty the Governor, King Aolong, there is no need to be polite. Please sit down. The old man waved his hand, and 2 futons appeared on the ground. After the 2 thanked each other, they took their seats. Pavilion Master, our Xianjing division has always been on good terms with the Longjiang Shui tribe. Now his 9th prince has been killed. The murderer has escaped and has been captured by Wei Neng. Therefore, I specially come to ask Master Tianji Pavilion to help find the whereabouts of this murderer. Ao Kun also wisely took out a jade box, held it up with magic power, and placed it in front of the Master of Tianji Pavilion. This is a little gift from me. Please accept it, Master. If the murderer of my son can be found, I will be very grateful. The Master of Tianji Pavilion nodded and looked at Ao Kun. The deduction of heavenly secrets is even more difficult. Although the old Taoist has practiced Zai Do for many years, his realm is limited and he may not be able to help the Dragon King. Even if the Pavilion Master takes action, whether it succeeds or not, I and the Longjiang Shui tribe will all be deeply affected by it, Ao Kun said solemnly. In this case, the old Taoist should take action. He waved the floating dust in his hand and accepted the jade box. With a pinch of the fingers of his left hand, 5 copper coins with flashing light flew out of his body. The magic weapon that completes the 12 treasure prohibitions. As Yuan Shen monks, Ye Gaiun and Ao Kun had good eyesight and could see through the reality of these 5 copper coins in an instant. However, compared to the usual yin-yang, wind, thunder, and 5-element treasures, these 5 copper coins are indeed illusory and are said to be the most difficult magic weapon to practice. At the same time, it is also the most difficult to cultivate among all types of treasures. Ye Gaiun and Ao Kun have seen several magic weapons with the same magic number before, and they have also seen 1 or 2 spiritual weapons, but this is the first time they have seen the magic weapon. The anticipation in Ao Kun's eyes instantly became intense. If he could find the murderer of his son, he wouldn't mind getting another insight-level spiritual material to thank the Master of Tianji Pavilion. Accompanied by the spiritual light and the magic power of the Master of Tianji Pavilion, the 5 copper coins rotated faster and faster, and countless mysterious black and white clouds began to emerge. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 406. Zi Wei Do Shu, the secret of heaven appears. The old man shouted loudly, and the 5 copper coins shone brightly, and the surrounding black and white clouds violently billowed. But for just a moment, the black and white clouds seemed to have been hit hard and collapsed instantly. The old Taoist's expression changed drastically. How can it be? Pavilion Master, what's going on? Aokun asked quickly. Someone has obscured the secret. The old Taoist's face was full of disbelief. Please let me know, Master. Aokun continued to ask. After taking a look at them, the old man took a deep breath. The deduction of heavenly secrets is extremely difficult. You must practice hard all year round and have superb understanding to achieve some success. Throughout the ages, there are only a handful of people who can make achievements on this path. In the entire Daong dynasty, my Tianji pavilion has been inherited for a long time and is the leader. Therefore, through the ages, nothing in the world can be hidden from me, Tianji pavilion. The old Taoist's face darkened, and his face showed disbelief again. But, this time is an exception. Aokun and Yagayun were both decisive and smart people, and they instantly understood that the so-called covering the secret of heaven meant that there was someone with a higher level of cultivation in the secret of heaven, who surpassed the master of the secret of heaven. Aokun's face instantly turned gloomy. If his son was killed by someone who thought he was an expert in the secret arts, then his hope of revenge would be extremely slim. Although there are no members of the Longjiang Shui tribe who practice Tianji Dao, there are many records about this Dao. For people who are good at heaven and earth, it almost becomes instinct to seek good fortune and avoid misfortune when they reach great heights. It is more difficult to capture such a person than to deal with several Yuan-Shen monks. Pavilion Master, but seriously. Looking at Aokun's gloomy expression, the master of Tianji Pavilion sighed. I didn't expect things to turn out like this. Sure enough, everything is as my teacher said. The world is big and there are many capable people. You must not be arrogant or blindly confident. After shaking his head. I'm making a deduction for the Dragon King. If it still doesn't work, there's nothing I can do. Please take action, Pavilion Master Aokun said. The master of Tianji Pavilion nodded. The 5 copper coins flew up again, and the auras were brighter than before. The black and white clouds became strong again. The brilliance is flashing and the auspicious colors are thousands. The master of Tianji Pavilion has his hair and beard spread out, his eyes are wide open, his beard is standing on end, and his face is red. It is obvious that his magic power has been activated to the extreme. Open it for me. A loud shout. The 5 copper coins were brilliant, and the black and white clouds boiled instantly. Suddenly, an 8-color spiritual light flew out of nowhere, 5 copper coins were knocked down instantly, and the black and white clouds were also destroyed. Puff. The master of Tianji Pavilion turned pale and spat out a mouthful of blood. Master. Gu Hong, the principal boy who was watching from the sidelines, yelled and ran over quickly. Master, how are you? Patting his little hand, the master of Tianji Pavilion shook his head. Don't worry, it's nothing serious as a teacher. Yagayun took out a cyan porcelain bottle and held it with magic power before sending it to the master of Tianji Pavilion. Pavilion Master, here are 12 Heavenly King's heart-building pills, which are very effective in replenishing qi and healing injuries. Please take them quickly. The master of Tianji Pavilion nodded, took the porcelain bottle, opened it, sniffed it, poured out 3 pills, and drank it. After adjusting his breath for a while, his face finally looked better. Thank you so much for the elixir from the governor. The Heavenly King's heart-building pill is extremely precious. Please take back the rest. The medicine bottle was quickly pushed back by Yagayun. This time the master of Tianji Pavilion did not refuse. Thank you, old man. After accepting the medicine bottle, the master of Tianji Pavilion looked at Aokun. Ao Longwang, the old Taoist has tried his best, but that man's cultivation is far above that of the old Taoist. After all the hard work, he has gained nothing. I am really ashamed. Although he said he was ashamed, he had no intention of returning the gift that Aokun had given him earlier. Aokun didn't care either. The Longjiang Shui tribe had been standing for tens of thousands of years and had accumulated countless treasures. Although a cave-level treasure was precious, he didn't take it lightly. The most important thing is his son's hatred. Pavilion Master, do you have any clues about this person? The master of Tianji Pavilion shook his head. So ashamed. The master of the pavilion is good at the magic of heaven and earth. Do you know who else in the world of cultivation, or which force is there, who can surpass the master of the pavilion in the magic of heaven and earth? The master of Tianji Pavilion pondered for a moment. In the territory of Daong, there should be no one who is better than the old Taoist in Tianjishu. Although the overseas cultivation world is vast, the land is barren and mostly occupied by casual cultivators. There should be no one either. Aokun's heart moved. Pavilion Master, do you mean Daki? The master of Tianji Pavilion nodded. The world of mountains and seas is millions of miles wide. Excluding the vast sea area, Dachi is the most respected in the cultivation world. Although we in Daong have many powerful people, we are still far behind Dachi. If there is a way to master the magic of Tianji, if there are people who are better than the Taoist, they are only people from Dachi. Daki and Daong are separated by tens of thousands of miles of Huoluo Desert. How did they come to Daong? Aokun said. The Huoluo Desert may be a natural chasm for monks of Yuanying and below, but it is not a big problem for Yuanshen monks. It is normal for those generations to travel around the world, increase their knowledge and lay a solid foundation. Tianji Pavilion the main way. Aokun's expression changed. After taking a deep breath, he cupped his fists as a salute. Thank you, Pavilion Master, for making the deduction for me. If the Pavilion Master finds me, Longjiang Shui tribe, in the future, Aokun will do his best to show the kindness of the Pavilion Master in helping me this time. After the Master of Tianji Pavilion returned the gift, the old Taoist is very ashamed. His realm is limited and his strength is low. He is not able to help. He is not worthy of King Aolong's gift. Master, there is no need to be polite. While speaking, Aokun stood up. I am in a hurry to meet Longjiang, so I won't disturb the Pavilion Master. Guhong. The disciple is here. You sent King Aolong and the governor for me. Yes. His eyes turned to the two of them. The old Taoist still needs to heal his wounds, so he can't get up to see us off. You too, Hai Han. Pavilion Master, you're welcome. Just feel free to heal your wounds, Yegayun said. Farewell. Aokun bowed his hands and walked out with Yegayun. Guhong, the principal boy, sent the two of them out, closed the door and came back, only to see that the master, who was once pale and depressed, had now returned to his original appearance. His face was rosy, his eyes were bright, and he didn't look injured at all. Master, you. Silly boy, if my master hadn't pretended to be injured, I'm afraid the old dragon wouldn't have given up. I'm afraid I won't be able to keep this Qingyun grass. After that, he took out the gift that Aokun gave him at the beginning, with a look of love on his face. Master, you are so greedy. Guhong curled his lips. Huangkaoruzai, what do you know? After putting away the jade box, go and pack it quickly. We will leave the Xianjing division in 3 days. Leave? Master, we live well here, why should we leave? The old man glared. I tell you to go, just go, there are so many reasons. Go quickly. The little boy Guhong pouted, with dissatisfaction on his face, and reluctantly walked towards the room next to him. After he left, the old man turned his head and looked towards the majestic and solemn inner courtyard of the palace, which was shrouded in mist and rain in the distance. The demonic energy is getting stronger and stronger. A disaster is imminent in Zhongzhou city. The old Taoist must leave this place of right and wrong as soon as possible. He raised his eyebrows. I don't know who the person who killed the 9th Prince Aokun actually had such a high level of cultivation in Tianji. If we can communicate with him, the old Taoists' cultivation in Tianji will definitely improve a lot. Thinking of this, his eyes couldn't help but reveal a strong look of hope. He turned his gaze and looked to the southeast. The hexagram shows that walking in this direction will bring good luck. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 407. The howling north wind picked up the fallen leaves, swirling them and flying in all directions. It soon filled up the official road, which was in disrepair and had many potholes. Creak, the heavy solace of his feet crushed the leaves dried by the hot sun, and he strode towards an inn not far away near the official road. The inn is surrounded by barren farmland on three sides, with only the side facing the official road open. The tall figure wearing a green robe and a bamboo hat raised his head and glanced at the door of the store, which was blown by the north wind. He placed a shabby banner reading Chinjiakan store and stepped into the yard. The solid courtyard was very clean, with several large cars standing nearby. From the open door of the palace came bursts of aroma, as well as the sounds of drinking and guessing. The big man climbed up the steps, and his eyes dimmed, and a room about 4 feet long and wide came into view. Except for the counter on the inside, there are 9 tables on the thick wooden board, most of which are empty. Only 2 strong men dressed as knights and knights sit on the left, and a few traveling businessmen sit on the right near the counter. The strong man in green robe stepped into the room and instantly attracted everyone's attention. Seeing this person, the young woman wearing a long black dress at the counter with half of her breasts exposed and an enchanting manner winked. The waiter at the shop next to him was eating melon seeds and walked over to him. "Sir, the shop has good old wine, beef, and mutton, and delicious side dishes. What would you like to eat?" The strong man in green robes raised his head, revealing a rough face with a beard all over his face. His eyes were so captivating that the waiter subconsciously took 2 steps back. "A certain family wants 3 pounds of human blood, 5 pounds of human flesh, and then 9 pounds of hot human flesh." There was a hint of reluctance on the waiter's face. "Your Majesty, you are joking, we are just doing our business. Duty business." There was sarcasm on the strong man's face, and with a thought in his heart, a bolt of sword energy flew out from behind like lightning. Before the waiter could react, the sword light had already passed around his neck. The head that was still on guard looked sluggish for a moment, and a thin line of blood slowly emerged from the neck. Gilug, along with the spray of blood, the head rolled down. In a flash of light, the waiter disappeared, and a big spider the size of a wash basin with no head appeared on the ground. A serious store owner can actually hide a monster. Choke, the sword was unsheathed. The knights and merchants eating next to them all took out their swords. It was obvious that they were the same group as the shop owner, but they were pretending to be knights and merchants just to deceive the passing tourists. Now when they see their secrets exposed, they naturally swarm to attack. "Wait." The seductive voice sounded, and the knights and merchants who were about to pounce stopped one after another and saw the woman in black coming from the counter, with respectful expressions on their faces. "Who are you? We have never met, and we have never had any enmity. Why do you want to come to my door and kill my people?" "Ha ha, a certain Yan Chixia. As for why I want to kill you, of course it is to eradicate you monsters and avenge the countless poor people who have been eaten by you in the past 10 years. Yan Chixia." After pondering for a moment, the charming woman shook her head inwardly. She had never heard of this name. In fact, although Yan Chixia became famous after joining Su Junming's sect, his name was mainly spread among the major sections. Most small and medium-sized sects or casual cultivators did not know his details. Only the demon clan knew about him. Less. Looking at his slovenly appearance, he probably isn't a disciple of any major section. Thinking of this, the charming woman was determined. Revenge is up to you. A flash of blue light flashed, and the sword-wielding knights and merchants nearby were seen rushing to the ground, turning into spiders the size of wash basins, and dying unexpectedly. The green light flew to Yan Chixia's head, and a butterfly as big as the mouth of a bowl appeared, as if carved from fine sapphire, as beautiful as a work of art. It's just that the powerful innate Taoist sword energy lingering around this beautiful butterfly, combined with the corpses of several innate stage spider spirits on the ground, revealed the stern murderous intention behind the beauty. The charming woman's pupils shrank and her eyes were fixed on the butterfly. Is this the reason you came to your door? To deal with a spider demon like you, King Yu doesn't need to take action. Yan Chixia's hands were pointed like swords. Look at my demon-slaying sword. Accompanied by the sound of the sword soaring into the sky, a stream of cyan light, carrying a sharp sword energy, slashed towards the spider demon like lightning. Clang! Accompanied by the clear and joyful sound of gold and iron clashing, the demon-slaying sword was blocked. Looking at the 3-foot-3-inch long black sword in the spider demon's hand, Yan Chixia's expression changed slightly. Although his four-elephant sword formation, after being sealed by his master, was less powerful than 9 out of 10. But below the magic weapon, it is impossible to resist. This spider demon's black long sword can actually block the demon-slaying sword. It is at least a magic weapon. Noticing the change in Yan Chixia's expression, the spider demon suddenly showed a proud look on his face. Don't think you are the only one who has a flying sword. My spirit spider sword is a top-grade magic weapon, much stronger than your magic sword. As soon as he finished speaking, the solemn or even fearful look that was originally expected to appear on the other party's face did not appear. Yan Chixia became excited instead. Master is indeed right, the southeast is my blessed land. I'm afraid this guy is not a fool. Before she could finish her thoughts, she saw Yan Chixia's hands forming sword fingers, and 2 sword lights, one green and one red, flew out from the sword box behind her. The infinite immortal sword. The 2 swords were connected in parallel, the sword energy surged, and the powerful sword light was several times greater than before. The spider demon's expression changed drastically. Not good. He raised the spider sword in his hand. Flying dragon sword style. The spirit spider sword transformed into a black dragon several feet long, roaring and heading towards the Juexian sword. Shishi. The sword energies collided and offset each other, and the huge inn was smashed to pieces by the sharp sword energies. Yan Chixia rose into the air and looked at the spider demon who was also standing in the air. How can you, a demon, know the magic conquering methods of my Taoist sword sect? Humph. It's not your turn to take care of my affairs. Although she said she was powerful, the spider demon was extremely solemn in her heart. The power of the sword she just struck made her, a demon cultivator with perfect golden elixir, feel difficult to resist. Who is this person? Not only does he have such a strong swordsmanship, but he also has 2 magic weapon level flying swords to protect himself. And although I don't know what kind of spiritual beast that butterfly is, its aura is extremely extraordinary. Once I capture you, spider demon, everything will be clear. Look at the sword. 3 talents killing immortal sword. 3 rays of sword light flew out from behind Yan Chixia, and the powerful sword energy increased several times based on the previous one. What? The spider demon's expression changed drastically, and she just barely accepted the sword blow. Now I am determined not to be able to take on this stronger Xuxian sword. This spider demon is also a decisive person. When he saw something bad, he activated his magic power and escaped with his sword. Yan Chixia didn't pursue her either. Haha, are you talking about running away? He reached out and made a move, and a black jade talisman flew out of his dantian. With a push of magic, a huge black hole emerged from mid-air. With one stroke of the sword, the Xuxian sword chi poured into the huge hole, then spanned dozens of miles and sprang out from behind the escaping spider demon. The sword energy reaches the sky and is extremely domineering. Along with the shrill screams, everything returned to calm. Yan Chixia stretched out her hand, and 3 flying swords flew back, holding a black spider corpse that was 5 feet in size. He reached out and made a move, and an inner elixir that was cut in half flew into his hand. After simply throwing it away, she patted the green gourd on her waist, and strong suction force burst out. Yan Chixia let go, and the demon pill and the black spider corpse were included in it. I shook the green gourd and heard the faint sound of water. Yan Chixia's face showed a look of satisfaction. After a while, Pandeo's gourd 5 poison spiritual wine will be almost ready. This green gourd was originally a storage magic weapon given by Su Junming, but after acquiring the cave heaven Dharma realm, Yan Chixia regarded it as her own wine gourd. Then, based on the brewing method of the 5 poison spirit wine he learned from Su Junming's collection of books, he made this gourd spirit wine that is comparable to the Dongxian spirit pill. He glanced at the dilapidated inn at his feet, and with a snap of his fingers, a spark flew in, and in the blink of an eye a fire shot into the sky. After burning for a quarter of an hour, the inn, together with the dead bones that had been piled underground for many years, and the accumulated resentment, were all reduced to ashes. The figure flashed and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in a small courtyard. This small courtyard is surrounded by a bamboo forest covering an area of dozens of acres. Beyond the bamboo forest is white mist. On the plaque at the main entrance of the small courtyard, there are 4 big characters with iron paintings and silver hooks, 4 Elephant Sword House. This was the cave heaven Dharma realm given to him by Su Junming. Climb up the stairs and step into a simple wooden house. Although it doesn't look big from the outside, the interior space of the wooden house is quite large. After returning to the training room, he sat down on the futon. He took out the spider demon's magic bag and the spirit spider sword. Of course, what he values most is the 8 forbidden spirit spider sword, which is a rare flying sword. For a swordsman, the value of a good sword is unquestionable. After whirling for a moment, he shook his head. I already have a stronger 4 elephant sword formation, and I can't use the spirit spider sword. Throwing it away, the long sword flew into the black iron sword stand next to it. In addition to the spirit spider sword, there are also dozens of swords on this sword stand, with different widths and shapes. Except for a flying sword of spiritual weapon level, the rest are magic swords. These were the swords he had accumulated over the past year in slaying demons. When he didn't need them, he put them here as part of his collection. As for those treasures that are not swords, keep the precious ones. Everything that is not precious is sold in the market. Open the spider demon's magic bag. Several spiritual weapons, bottles of elixirs, and other miscellaneous things came into view. Jade slips. Yan Chixia's eyes lit up and she took out the 2 jade slips from the bag. Influenced by Su Junming, in addition to collecting various swords, his favorite thing is also collecting various jade slips to enrich his knowledge. The 2 jade slips, 1 green and 1 white, are old in color, and they are obviously old. Divine consciousness soaks into the blue jade slip, and countless words are reflected in the sea of consciousness. Xianyuan 9 swords. After reading it, Yan Chixia looked overjoyed. What a profound sword manual. As a sword cultivator, Yan Chixia quickly became obsessed with it. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 408. What an exquisite sword technique. The more you understand the 9-style sword technique, the more you feel its subtlety. Although the 4 symbols sword sutra passed down to him by Su Junming is profound in spirit, the sword techniques of Yuan, Wuji, Sankei, and 4 symbols are also extremely profound. But whether it is the Wuji absolute immortal sword, the 3 talents slaying immortal sword, or even the 4 symbols slashing heaven sword, they are all moves that combine swordsmanship with formations. This kind of sword move is suitable for someone like Su Junming who has a deep understanding of the Tao of fighting, but it is not suitable for Yan Qixia. Therefore, the power of the four-symbol sword Ju in his hands was far less powerful than that of Su Junming's envoy. On the contrary, it is the Xianyuan 9 swords. Fi long sword style, Tian long sword style, Qing long sword style, Suan Wu sword style, Fi Feng sword style, White Tiger sword style, Kailan sword style, Suzaku sword style and Tianpeng sword style. Each style is profound, and powerful. I don't know where the spider demon got such an exquisite sword technique. It suddenly made up for my shortcomings. Now I don't have to ask the master for help. Yan Qixia couldn't put it down. I wonder what is recorded in this white jade slip. With the Xianyuan 9 swords in front of him, he was looking forward to it. His spiritual consciousness was immersed in it, and soon another spell was reflected in the sea of consciousness. The Supreme God's curse for awakening sins, killing demons, and protecting the body. After some meditation with the help of the phantom of the bronze mirror in her dantian, Yan Qixia discovered that this spell was not difficult and was extremely powerful. Just recite the incantation to use it. However, in order to exert the power of this method, one must possess merit. The higher the merits on one's body, the stronger the power of this method will be. No wonder that spider demon has never practiced. After understanding, Yan Qixia came to the bamboo forest in the backyard, took a deep breath, and looked serious. A pinch of seal. Heaven and earth are infinite, and the universe is borrowed from the law. In an instant, he felt a powerful force pouring into his body. Subconsciously, he reached out and slapped forward, and the surging power of heaven and earth rolled forward. With a boom, the ground shattered, and the bamboo forest covering half an acre was turned into powder in an instant. After savoring it for a moment, Yan Qixia nodded. Although this power is not as powerful as my flying sword, it is not bad, and it can also increase with the improvement of my own merit. The sword technique may surpass mine in the future. More importantly, it does not require mana to activate the supreme sin-killing demon-slaying protective curse, as long as the physical body can withstand the violent power of heaven and earth. Just when he was about to continue trying, the Hushan spirit talisman in his dantian suddenly trembled. Yan Qixia's heart moved and she quickly took out the magic talisman. Along with the halos, Su Junming's voice came from it. I have received your letter from Fi He. Tell Xianjing Division that I will attend the Dragon Palace Immortals meeting in a year's time. Yes, Master. Also, I agree to your decision to abandon the four-elephant sword formation and practice four swords into one. Like the four-elephant sword art, the four-elephant sword formation is suitable for people like Su Junming who are proficient in formations and swordsmanship, but not suitable for monks like Yan Qixia who only practice swordsmanship. Disciple is so rebellious, I still hope. Okay. Master leads me in. Cultivation is personal. You can find that the four-elephant sword art and the four-elephant sword formation are not suitable for you. It is the right thing to correct them in time. Don't feel uneasy. If you encounter the same thing in the future, it will be the same. Do it accordingly. Yes, Master. I have another magic weapon level flying sword here, which I will give to you first. I will take back the four-elephant sword array. No need, Master. I just killed a spider demon and got a 7-treasure spider sword, which is enough for me to use now. Oh. You are really lucky. Hee, thank you Master for divination for me, otherwise I wouldn't have had such an opportunity. Practice well is the greatest reward for being a teacher. Yes, Master. The light of the Hushan talisman skyrocketed, and a black hole appeared in mid-air. With a strong suction force, the sword box behind Yan Qixia quickly flew into it. By the way, Master. These are the 2 jade slips I got from the spider demon. The techniques in them are extremely subtle. Master can take a look at them in his spare time. Xianyuan 9 swords. This is a superior sword art. You should practice this art first. Yes. The supreme spell to eradicate sins, kill demons, and protect the body, Supreme Wuji, borrow the spell from the universe. Hearing the surprise in Su Junming's tone, Yan Chixia hurriedly said, Master, this method is extremely simple, and if you have enough merit, it will be powerful enough. It is indeed a superior method. Looking at the method in his hand, Su Junming nodded. But what surprised him more than this technique was the strong inertia of fate. Although Yan Chixia became his disciple, but Xian Yuan's sword technique, the supreme spell to avert sins, kill demons, and protect the body, still fell into his hands. It seems that Lan Ruosi, Ning Keichan, Nai Xiaoqian, and Grandma Dryad can't avoid it either, Su Junming thought to himself. I can refine your sword in half a year. You can give it a name first. Yan Chixia nodded and pondered for a moment. Since I practice Xian Yuan 9 swords, this sword will be named after Xian Yuan. Xian Yuan sword. Master, what do you think of this name? Yes, just use it. A porcelain bottle flew out of the space passage. This is my newly refined Sanhuangdan. There are 30 pills in total. You can take it? Thank you, Master. Yan Chixia was not polite and took it with both hands. Anything else? Gone. Practice well. As soon as he finished speaking, the aura of the Hushan spirit talisman converged and fell into Yan Chixia's hands. After putting it away, he returned to the training room. With the help of the bronze mirror shadow, he studied the Xian Yuan 9 swords for 3 months. After initially mastering it, he left the sword house. When we came outside, it was still the same place where we killed the spider spirit. The finger gestures changed, and a paper crane flew into the distance. This is his reply to Ye Gaiun of the Xianjing division. When the other party couldn't find Su Junming, they forwarded the news about the Dragon Palace Immortals Association to him and asked him to convey it to Su Junming. Now that the master had a reply, he naturally wanted to inform Ye Gaiun of the news. After he finished writing the book, Yan Chixia continued his training. He didn't control the air to fly, but walked towards the distance along the dilapidated official road. Along the way to activate the phantom of the bronze mirror, as long as it encounters a demon or person with a spirit of resentment, it will definitely be killed. He has done countless things to subjugate and eliminate demons. Because most people didn't know his name, some good people gave him the nickname Bearded Lingguan based on Yan Chixia's appearance. One day, Yan Chixia came to Guangping County in Qinghe Province. Looking at the time, it was already noon. After entering the county town, he walked straight towards the most luxurious restaurant here. It is said to be the most luxurious, but in fact it is just a 2-story restaurant. In this small county with a small population and poor people's livelihood, a restaurant like this is considered luxurious. Kumfuk. After looking up at the name of the palace, Yan Chixia planned to climb up the steps. Although he has long since abstained from food, he still enjoys food and drink more than his master. Therefore, 3 meals a day must be eaten on time, unless something is delayed or you are sleeping in the wild. A mouthful of meat and a mouthful of wine. In Yan Chixia's opinion, this is the magical life that a monk should enjoy. Just about to go upstairs, a black shadow was suddenly thrown out from inside. Yan Chixia stepped aside and stretched out her legs. A scholar with handsome features, a hungry look on his face, and wearing an old gown appeared in front of him. Thank you, hero, for saving me. The scholar, who originally thought he was going to be thrown to the ground, quickly handed over his hands and thanked Yan Chixia. Before the latter could say anything, ding bang, a bunch of things were thrown out from inside. The scholar quickly bent down to pick it up. Immediately afterwards, countless fragments fell down. A tall, fat man with his sleeves rolled up and his arms revealing countless curved black hairs walked out. He looked at the scholar with contempt. You're like this, And you still want to ask for a debt from your Mr. Who? If your Mr. Who hadn't been in a good mood today, I would have had your legs broken, so get out of here. The scholar put away his things and glared at him angrily. Faced with the unfavorable situation of being outnumbered, he did not show any courage. He took his luggage and walked away wearing tattered cloth shoes with his big toe exposed. Seeing this, Yan Chixia shook her head. He had no intention of helping. In this world, he has enough to worry about, including monsters, and major matters of life and death. He didn't bother to deal with such trivial debts. Step upstairs. Step aside. The strong man surnamed Hu, although he looks rough, is actually a very delicate guy. One look at Yan Chixia's appearance and she knew she was not easy to mess with, so she quickly turned around and got out of the way. Come inside. The waiter came to greet me. Sir, what do you want to eat? Do you have any meat here? Yes, we have chicken, duck, and fish here, and we just slaughtered a cow this morning, the waiter said quickly. Bring me 10 roasted chickens and cut into 30 kilograms of beef. I'll pack them up and take them away. I'll reward you with the rest. As he said this, he threw a 20-tael piece of silver to the waiter. As the saying goes, the waiter in this shop is like that when he sees money. As soon as I saw the silver ingot, my lips almost reached my back molars. Sir, please sit here for a moment and I will prepare it for you right away. He took out a towel, wiped the stool diligently, and asked Yan Chixia to sit down. Then he took the teapot and made him a pot of tea, then hurried to the kitchen. Sensing a few vague greedy lights next to her, Yan Chixia, an expert in art, was bold and didn't pay attention. Money can make all the difference, and the waiter in the shop moves very quickly. 10 roast chickens and 30 pounds of beef make up a big bag. Yan Chixia took it and carried it on her shoulders and walked out of the restaurant. After identifying the direction, he walked straight towards the mountains outside the county town. Just after activating the bronze mirror phantom in the Danshan, there were a few corpse auras with resentment and evil aura there. Although it was not very strong, it would always be a threat to ordinary people if they did not get out. As soon as she came to the street, Yan Chixia noticed several little tails following behind her. However, they did not come to provoke her, and Yan Chixia did not want to cause trouble for herself. Along the way out of the county seat, I didn't see many people taking action. Yan Chixia took long strides, took the cooked food she bought, and walked straight into the mountains. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 409. Several people just followed and did not rush to stop Yan Chixia. After watching him enter the mountain, he followed him for a while, but stopped at the entrance of a remote mountain pass. It's Lanruo Temple up there, are you still following? If you go into that ghost place, you won't come out alive. I don't want to be a ghost. If the boss blames you, the most he can do is give him a slap in the face. If he goes to Lanruo Temple, his life will be lost. After nodding in approval, the two of them glanced at each other in fear, then turned towards the road extending towards the top of the mountain and ran back the way they came. After the two of them walked away, Yan Chixia jumped down from a tall locust tree. After looking away from the two people's backs, he looked at the mountain road extending upward. Lanruo Temple? A certain family really wants to see it. He originally liked to fight with the sword and fight injustices in the world, but after receiving the supreme spell to avert sins, slay demons, and protect oneself, he became even more enthusiastic about slaying demons and accumulating merit. With one step, he was tens of meters away in an instant, moving forward along the desolate and ruined mountain road. After about a few hundred meters, he rounded a huge boulder and suddenly a clear view appeared in front of him. On a large stone flat, a majestic mountain temple comes into view. The temple gate is tall, 3 feet tall. There are 36 broad steps paved with rocks. Climb up and you will see the Vermilion Temple, 1 large, 2 small, and 3 temple doors. Above the temple door in the middle, there is a huge plaque with the words Lanruo Temple written on it. Although it has been in disrepair for a long time, and due to the erosion of wind and rain, the walls of the temple door fell off and the temple door collapsed, it can still be seen that when Lanruo Temple was in its heyday, it must have been the place where it was most prosperous. Climbing up the steps and passing through the mountain gate, you will find the 3-door hall that is common in Buddhist temples. 2 powerful Vajra statues are enshrined in the hall. At this moment, due to disrepair, one of the Vajra statues in Lanruo Temple collapsed and another lost its head. The shrines on the left and right are also mottled and covered with cobwebs. The corner of the hall was filled with animal excrement and was extremely filthy. Yan Chixia took a quick look and then came to the back from the side aisle. Passing through the release pond filled with sewage, passing through the yard covered with weeds in the cracks of the rocks and covered with fallen leaves, we entered the main hall. As the most glorious hall in the Buddhist temple, the main hall enshrines 3 Buddha statues. Vairochana Buddha in the middle, Lushana Buddha on the left, and Sakyamuni Buddha on the right. The 3 Buddhas in the same hall correspond to the Buddhist concept of 3 Buddhas. The Vairocana Buddha in the middle is the Dharmakaya, the left is the Samagakaya, and the right is the Yingshen. Yan Chixia didn't know much about Buddhism. Being born in a Taoist sect, he is not very interested in Buddhist things. In the blink of an eye, a wisp of sword energy killed the 2 walking corpses hidden in the main hall. Just as he was about to exit, his footsteps suddenly stopped. There seems to be something in this main Buddha statue. In order to avoid mistaking the demon, he kept activating the phantom of the bronze mirror in his danshan to bless his eyesight. Although it is just an illusion, the ability to break through illusions and preserve reality is not as good as the bronze mirror in Su Junming's danshan, but at such a close distance, it can still see through reality. He flew up and landed on the altar table, looking up at the Vairocana Buddha statue which was more than 1 foot tall. Although Buddhism and Taoism have different origins, destroying other people's golden bodies is not done by the righteous path. Yan Chixia thought for a moment and took out the Hushan talisman. With the help of his magic power, a space channel the size of a sea bowl appeared in his chest. With a move of his hand, the box hidden in the belly of the Buddha statue flew along the channel and into his palm. Untie the oil paper on the surface to reveal the ebony box inside. This box is extremely exquisitely made, with a relief on the surface showing Sakyamuni sitting on a scab, surrounded by 108 monks. The whole thing is like a Buddha's teaching picture. What a mysterious magic weapon, it can actually block spiritual consciousness. Yan Chixia used her spiritual sense to check it, but it seemed that the box did not exist and could not be seen at all. If it weren't for the extremely mysterious phantom of the bronze mirror, this box would not have fallen into his hands. After looking left and right, there are no other patterns except the relief image of Buddha's Dharma. The gold buckle in the middle of the box is not locked. After opening Yan Chixia, there is a faint scent of sandalwood. 2 things appeared in front of him. The same gold threads are threaded together, totaling 12 pieces of Bay Leaf Sutra. It is also a small box made of topaz, the size of an adult's palm. There was no pattern on the small box. After opening it, there was an irregular-shaped, off-white bead placed on the yellow jade holder. Feel the vast Buddha power inside the beads. This should be the Buddhist relic that Master once said. With such profound Buddhist power, one does not know what state the Buddha who condensed this relic reached during his lifetime. Shaking his head slightly, he picked up the Bayou Buddhist scripture and soaked it with his spiritual consciousness. Short piece of Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. Although Yan Chixia belongs to a Taoist sect, she also knows that the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra is the fundamental sutra of Buddhism and the summary of many sutras in Mahayana Buddhism. Different from the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra circulated in the world, this short Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra is more detailed. In addition to Buddhist sutras, there are also Buddhist cultivation methods. Out of curiosity, Yan Chixia looked through it with shock on her face. A cultivation method above the immortal way. In this short Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra, there is a method of cultivation that is superior to the immortal way. However, the realm title of Buddhism is different from that of Taoism. They call the heavenly immortal Arhat, the true immortal the venerable, the mysterious immortal the Bodhisattva, and the golden immortal the Buddha. The short Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra can be cultivated to the realm of the venerable, that is, a true immortal. If he didn't enter Su Junming's sect and get this short Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra, maybe he would practice some more. But now, after browsing, I put it in my pocket. Take it out in your spare time, study it, absorb the nutrients, and provide it for your own sword practice. This is the right way. After dealing with these two items, Yan Chixia finally put away the ebony box. Being able to isolate the spiritual consciousness from prying eyes, it is obvious that the restrictions inside are extraordinary. If you are not good at the formation, you can take it back to the master for enlightenment. She got several treasures upon arrival, and Yan Chixia instantly regarded Lanruo Temple as her blessed place. With a wave of his hand, Daxia cast a dust-repelling spell, and after cleaning up the dust and feces in the Mahavira Hall, he prepared to practice here for a period of time. With the 5 poison wine he had cultivated himself and the 3 yellow pills given by Su Junming, he could advance to the 9th level of the golden pill in less than a year. The sun sets and the night gradually becomes darker. Yan Chixia, who was sitting cross-legged in the main hall, suddenly opened her eyes, her sharp gaze floating 3 feet in the air, like 2 small searchlights. Why is he here? At this moment, on the mountain road, a young scholar wearing an old gown was carefully walking towards Lanruo Temple with a lantern in his hand. Walking around the big rocks, I looked at the remote mountain temple in front of me. Lanruo Temple? We're finally here. After finding a place to stay, the scholar showed a happy smile on his face and quickly climbed up the stairs and walked into the Sanman Hall. The Sanman Palace is desolate, with wind leaking from all sides and the roof half down, making it really uninhabitable. The scholar carefully walked around the piles of garbage and came to the temple. Seeing the majestic Mahavira Palace, which seemed to be relatively well preserved, I walked over. It's so clean here. As soon as I came in, I saw the clean floor and the 3-body Buddha statue that was modeled but not dusty. Scholar, why are you running around so late at night? Ah! Ouch! Suddenly hearing a sound, the scholar screamed in fright, and took a few steps back. He hit the knee-high door rail and almost fell out. Yan Chixia dodged and stretched out her right hand to hold his back. Scholar, you are so cowardly, how dare you come to this mountainous place at night? Noticing Yan Chixia's face, the scholar's face showed a happy look. Hero, it turns out to be you. He stood up straight, straightened his clothes, and then bowed his head. Xiaoshen Ningkeichin, thank you so much for your heroic action today at noon, otherwise Xiaoshen would have been thrown to death by those shameless people. Yan Chixia waved her hand. It's a little effort, no need to be polite. Step into the main hall. Ningkeichin quickly followed. It's hard to find a living person in this damn place, so of course you have to follow him. Yan Chixia turned around suddenly, and Ningkeichin was unprepared and almost bumped into her. Hero. Don't call me a hero, I'm not a hero. Also, don't follow me like a dog. There are so many places in the hall, find your own place. Seeing his fierce expression, Ningkeichin shuddered and quickly hid aside. Before Yan Chixia joined the army, she was a Yamen policeman who killed many people. After becoming Su Junming's apprentice, although it was not a long time, hundreds of demons and ghosts died at his hands. The accumulated murderous aura was extremely strong. Coupled with his own practice of swordsmanship, his every move was filled with sharp aura. Not that an industrious scholar like Ningkeichin could resist. After retreating from Ningkeichin, Yan Chixia returned to the futon she found and sat down cross-legged. Gilug. The loud belly rumbling made Ningkeichin look embarrassed. He quickly put down the bamboo basket behind his back, took out half a full head, and ate it with water. Yan Chixia activated the phantom bronze mirror in her danchan and looked towards Ningkeichin. This person is not a demon, and there is a light yellow cloud above his head, as well as a red aura, hovering above the light yellow cloud. I didn't expect this person to have such strong merits. Wow, he has a strong fortune, and he will be rich in the future. Yan Chixia was not good at identifying Qi, but with the help of the bronze mirror phantom, everything became easier. Ningkeichin. Yan Chixia waved her hand and a paper ball flew towards Ningkeichin. The latter caught it in a hurry, with soft tentacles and a strong fragrance. Peel off the hemp paper on it, and a golden roasted chicken with fragrant aroma appears in front of you. The extremely alluring fragrance instantly became stronger several times. The saliva is like a flood, secreting rapidly. Ningkeichin, whose eyes were filled with longing, swallowed a large mouthful of saliva unconsciously. Da hero, this. Looking at you, I'll give you this roasted chicken. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 410. Yan Chixia knew very well that it was not easy for a poor scholar to accumulate so much merit in this chaotic world. No, it should be said that it is not easy. Yan Chixia herself understands this very well. Ningkeichin's mouth was almost watering after not eating meat for a long time, but the character and morality he had cultivated over a long period of time still restrained him. If I eat this chicken, then hero. Don't worry, a certain family still has it. Yan Chixia took out a pack of beef, opened it on her knees, grabbed a few pieces and put them in her mouth to chew. Taking off the wine gourd from his waist, Gudu took a sip and felt a stream of water mixed with blood energy, spiritual energy, and alcoholic energy. It fell into his stomach and quickly dispersed, and soon his whole body became warm. Happy. Seeing that he still had something to eat, Ningkeichin stopped being polite and rubbed his hands on his clothes, pulled off a chicken drumstick, put it into his mouth and started chewing. He hadn't tasted meat in months. After finishing a pack of beef, Yan Chixia drank wine and glanced at Ningkeichin, who was devouring her food next to her. Scholar, if you don't want to take the exam to gain fame, what are you doing here in the mountains and plains when you have nothing to do? Xiaosheng came here to collect debts in Guangping County. Ningkeichin swallowed the mussels in his mouth and patted his chest before saying, collect the bill? Just you. Ningkeichin showed a hint of embarrassment on his face. Although Xiaosheng is weak, he is still young at least. As long as he goes there a few more times, he can always get some out. Yan Chixia was speechless. Obviously, Ningkeichin's method of collecting debts is to pester him every day. If the pester can't bear it anymore, he will ask for some amount of debt. Of course, there was also a beating in the middle. At any rate, he is young and his body can withstand the torment. Seeing that you are also a literate person, even if you fail the examination, writing letters and copying scriptures for others, being a teacher is better than being beaten every day. Seeing the look in Yan Chixia's eyes that said, are you mentally ill, Ningkeichin lowered his head and spoke in a low tone. These accounts are all things that my father told me to recover when he was still alive. Yan Chixia nodded. How much do these owed silvers total? A total of 314 taels. This number can be said to be engraved in Ningkeichin's bones. So your family was very wealthy before. In this era, the monthly salary of the county magistrate in the government office was only 3 or 4 taels of silver. Of course, This is only a covert search, which naturally far exceeds this number. However, this also shows the value of one tael of silver in Daong. The Ning family can lend out more than 300 taels of silver, which means they have at least several thousand taels, or even 10,000 taels of wealth. Ning Keichin nodded. My Ning family was originally a wealthy businessman in Lingling Prefecture. Our family has thousands of hectares of fertile land and a fortune. We are always willing to do good things and help our neighbors. However, unexpected events occurred. The Luchaosheng uprising 3 years ago swept Lingling Prefecture. My Ning family, although he escaped, he lost all his property. My parents also died on the way to escape. When things calm down, I will return to Lingling Mansion. Unfortunately, the governor saw that I was weak and colluded with the Ning family members to misappropriate my family's property and kicked me out. After a pause and a heavy breath, Ning Keichin calmed down his turbulent thoughts. In order to avoid their persecution, I escaped in the name of collecting debts. Yan Chixia nodded. I can't tell that your experience has been so tortuous. After a pause, you haven't thought about taking back the property. After a self-deprecating smile. The governor of Lingling Prefecture is the uncle-in-law of the inspector of Hanping Province. He is colluding and has no way to appeal. Although I have real talents and knowledge, the governor has cancelled my registration long ago, and my path to the imperial examination has been cut off. I don't dare to think about taking back the land. I just plan to use some of these 300 taels of silver to change places and start my life again. Yan Chixia glanced at him. Although Ning Keichin's idea seems very cowardly, it is indeed the most rational and wise choice now. There are so many corrupt officials in the world. Yan Chixia sighed. If he hadn't witnessed the darkness in the officialdom, he wouldn't have thought of being born in the world, but chose to join the Xianjing division. Ning Keichin was about to nod in agreement when suddenly a strong and cold wind blew in from outside the door. Yan Chixia's expression suddenly changed. Ghost spirit. You stay here and don't run around. Ning Keichin saw his solemn expression and was about to ask, but Yan Chixia had already flown out like lightning. He activated his escaping light and chased the ghost energy to the back of Lanruo Temple. Suddenly, a ghost claw several feet in size suddenly shot down from mid-air. Heaven and earth are infinite, and the universe borrows the law. A golden Tai Chi pattern appeared in the palm of his hand. He raised his palm and clapped it. The force of heaven and earth surged forward and instantly shattered the ghost claw. A figure in a red dress flew upside down for more than 10 feet and landed on the top of a pine tree. Yan Chixia was shocked at the sight. Grudge. Resentful ghosts are golden elixir level ghosts and are very powerful. Brother Taoist priest, you are so ignorant of Lian Xianziao that you beat and kill him as soon as you come up, said the female ghost in red with a seductive look on her face. Although in the illusion of Dishenman, Yan Chixia once married a wife and had children, in reality he was indeed an out-and-out Lu man. Insulate yourself from love affairs between men and women. After hearing this, a look of disgust immediately appeared on his face. Even if a certain family gets a wife, they won't marry an ugly woman like you. One sentence instantly made the female ghost furious. When a woman becomes a ghost, the most annoying thing is that people say she is ugly. You deserve to die. You, a ghost, should go to reincarnation as early as possible. Xianyuan sword, unsheath it. Choke, accompanied by King Yu's sword cry, the former spirit spider sword, now the Xianyuan sword, flew out from the sword box behind his back with a bright sword light. Dragon sword style. The long sword's light surged, and the sharp sword energy turned into a rainbow, as fast as lightning, flying towards the female ghost. The female ghost's expression changed, and under the influence of ghost energy, the red silk around her waist instantly greeted her. It can be seen that this is also a ghost weapon. However, under the Xianyuan sword, it quickly turned into pieces. The sword energy was extremely sharp, with the evil energy of killing demons and the pure sword intention, overwhelming the female ghost. Ah! A shrill scream sounded. Soon an extremely dim ghost energy disappeared into the ground. Stinky Taoist, Grandma will not let you go. Want to run? The phantom of the bronze mirror in Danshan was activated, and Yan Chixia activated the Xianyuan sword. Flying dragon sword style. The extremely sharp sword energy turned into a soft long whip and flew straight to the ground. Chi-chi, the earth and rocks shattered and turned into powder under the sharp sword energy. Not good. Yan Chixia's expression changed, and she activated the escape light, reaching a very high altitude in an instant. Boom, the ground trembled, and dozens of thick tree roots flew out from the ground, like giant pythons, rising into the air and wrapping around him. Suzaku sword style. The Xianyuan sword instantly turned into hundreds of swords. Following Yan Chixia's sword finger, it was like a meteorite falling from the sky, slashing towards the tree roots like lightning. Although the roots of the tree are extremely tough, the Xianyuan sword is a magic weapon of the 8 Taoist taboos. As soon as the two sides touched, the tree roots as thick as a water tank were cut off instantly. With a boom, after the tree roots fell to the ground, the earth trembled, and the gravel and soil turned into a huge sandstorm. The broken tree roots twisted violently like snakes, making people's scalp numb. Stinky Taoist priest, how dare you hurt me? A voice that was neither male nor female came from underground. In the pine forest on the mountain behind Lanruo Temple, tree roots of all sizes spurt out from the ground. The astonishing momentum made Yan Chixia look excited. Yes, it's excitement. This was the first time he encountered a demon in the nascent soul stage since he started training. Finally I can let go and have a good fight. Xianyuan's sword behind him seemed to be aware of his emotions, buzzing and trembling, and the sound of the sword became more and more intense. Magical power rolled out of Yan Chixia's body. Suzaku sword style. Xianyuan's sword transformed into 2 and 2 into 4, covering the sky in the blink of an eye. The power is far stronger than before. Old monster, look at my magical sword. The overwhelming flying swords headed straight towards the roots of the tree. As soon as the two sides touched each other, countless flying swords were destroyed, and countless tree roots broke and fell down. Suddenly, a black light was faster than lightning, covertly and quickly penetrated the broken root and magic sword, and plunged straight into Yan Chixia's chest. It happened suddenly, and it happened very fast. Yan Chixia had no time to take back the Xianyuan sword, but with a master like Su Junming, she would not have to worry about having no treasure to protect her. He activated the Hushan spirit talisman and moved his body 10 feet in an instant, dodging easily. Looking at a few pictures, the black tree roots with a strong aura are obviously different from the thick tree roots around them. A reminder of the Pot Heaven spirit talisman. This is the Taoism that Su Junming comprehended after he understood Hushan Taoism to the purple fundamental talisman stage. It is also the only attack-like Tao method among his Hu Tian Tao methods. The Hushan talisman given to Yan Chixia contains this application. Motivated by Yan Chixia's thoughts, a 3-foot-long jet black crack quickly passed through the roots of the black tree. There is no doubt that under the powerful space method, the black tree root, which is as hard as the magic weapon of perfection, breaks instantly. Ah! A shrill roar of pain sounded instantly. Stinky Taoist, just wait for me. The black tree roots, together with those that were fighting Xianyuan's sword, quickly retracted underground. Yan Chixia stood in mid-air, activated the phantom of the bronze mirror in her danshan, and looked toward the ground. Once his gaze penetrated a mile, he could no longer continue. After all, it is just a phantom of Su Junming's bronze mirror, not the real thing. The bronze mirror's ability to remove illusions and retain reality is only limited to Yan Chixia. Of course, if you use clairvoyance, you can see farther with the help of a bronze mirror, but you can't penetrate the ground. Shaked his head. Reach out and make a move. A wooden stake 6 feet long, as thick as an adult's thigh, and with a deep texture fell into his hand. What a strong Yumu spirit! Soon his brows furrowed again. This Yumu chi also contains extremely rich ghost chi. It's such a pity. Otherwise, with the richness of Yumu's chi, it would be possible to cultivate a top-notch magic weapon. Income Jianlu. Take it back and show it to master. He is a famous craftsman. Maybe there is a way to remove the ghost spirit from it. After taking a brief look at the battlefield below, he activated his flying light and flew towards Lanruo Temple in front. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 411. As soon as he entered the main hall, Ning Keichin won. Hero, are you back? Yan Shixia's face changed slightly and she grabbed Ning Keichin. Why do you have ghost energy in you? What ghost spirit? Ning Keichin's eyes were a little evasive. Yan Shixia, who has been in the world for a long time and has experienced many illusions in Tianjinmen, can easily guess Ning Keichin's thoughts. Boining, monsters and ghosts are used to using magic to confuse the world. Once you sink into it, you will be killed by them. Don't make a mistake. He quickly avoided Yan Shixia's threatening eyes. My hero, I have misunderstood. The boy has been in this hall, blessed by many gods and Buddhas, and has not encountered any ghosts. Seeing that he didn't give up, Yan Shixia didn't bother to say anything. It's hard to persuade a damn devil with good words. Just take care of yourself. Leaving him behind, Yan Shixia walked aside to recover her mana. In Ning Keichin's mind, he couldn't help but think of the beautiful woman from before who was dressed in white and captivated the country, calling herself Xiao Qian. The beautiful sound of the piano, the graceful figure, and the melodious singing voice made me a little crazy for a while. Seeing his appearance, Yan Shixia snorted coldly. Ordinary people cannot escape the temptation of sensual dogs and horses. He closed his eyes in an instant. At this time, nearly 1,000 feet deep underground in Lanruo Temple, there was a huge cave covering hundreds of acres. In the center of the cave, a huge locust tree, as thick as 100 people could hug it, with its crown reaching the top of the mountain, grew across it. Although this locust tree is huge, there are not many branches and leaves in the crown. The tough branches are twisted together, making it look extremely strange. The dark tree is covered with large and small knots, and the uneven shape looks like distorted human faces. There is a faint red glow in the gaps between the bark, as if it is not a tree trunk but blood flowing inside. Under the thick tree trunk, the vast cave was filled with bones. There are numerous bones, both human and animal bones. Stirred by thick tree roots, it looks like a white ocean. Around this huge cave, there are also small caves that are like honeycombs and connect to the outside world. One of the caves on the south side is the largest, with a stone palace carved out of it, revealing a bit of eerie magnificence. Among these palaces, the one in the middle is the most gorgeous. The eaves are high and the jade pillars are no less impressive than the inner courtyard of the palace. In the middle of the palace, sitting at the top, was an old woman with thick eyebrows wearing a black cloak, a high crown, and holding a dove staff. She was sitting on a large stone chair carved with dragons and phoenixes. The old woman's lips looked like they were stained with blood, her eyes were gleaming, her cheeks were fleshless, she was like a mother without salt, even better than a yaksha. His face was full of anger at the moment. On his left and right, there are 4 statues with helmets and armor, holding swords and axes, like the guards of ordinary generals. Looking at the extremely strong corpse aura on their bodies, one knew that they were not human beings. After descending the stone chair and climbing a few more steps, dozens of beautiful women wearing different costumes stood in the middle of the hall. Especially in the front, the women wearing red, white, and purple clothes have the best appearance and temperament. Among the 3, the woman in white is the most prominent. Ahem, Grandma, if Xiao Qian hadn't missed it, the scholar's blood would have been obtained by Grandma long ago. The woman in red coughed a few times, her breath was weak, and she looked at the woman in white next to her with hatred in her eyes. The woman in white, Nai Xiaoqian, quickly bowed and saluted. Grandma, Xiaoqian could have succeeded, but the stinky Taoist priest placed a curse on the scholar. After Xiaoqian cracked it, the stinky Taoist priest came back before she could absorb the essence and blood. Therefore, she could not succeed. Please be careful, Grandma. The woman in red was almost beaten by Yan Xixia's Xianyuan sword, her ghost body was broken into pieces, and her vitality was seriously injured. Compared with Nai Xiaoqian, who was full of energy, she naturally felt unhappy. In addition, the two of them usually don't deal with each other, so this meeting will of course add insult to injury. Grandma, this must be Xiaoqian's excuse. Please be more careful. The woman in purple hurriedly stepped forward. Grandma, Xiaoqian has been working hard to collect blood essence for Grandma for many years, and she has never slacked off. Of course she won't do it this time either. Grandma. All right. The old woman sitting high up gave a sharp shout, interrupted the three people's argument, and slowly stood up. Grandma, I practice magic. Now I have reached a critical juncture. I need the essence and blood of a boy to assist me in my practice. The scholar is a 9th-generation boy. His essence and blood contain rich innate pure yang energy. If you use it to make me subdue it, one of them is better than 1,000. Speaking of this, the old woman's expression became excited. Suddenly his face changed slightly and he coughed a few times. Damn smelly Taoist priest. He was slightly injured by Yan Xixia's spatial slash, which cut his vitals. Grandma, are you okay? The woman in red clothes said quickly. After waving her hand, the old woman walked down the steps and came to the woman in white. He raised his left hand, a thick dark brown palm that hardly looked like a human hand. The palm slowly slid over Nai Xiaoqian's beautiful, creamy face, and then landed on her right shoulder. Xiaoqian, you know, Grandma has loved you the most these years. Nai Xiaoqian knew that the person in front of her was moody and murderous, so she quickly bowed and saluted. Xiaoqian is deeply grateful for her great kindness, and she is deeply grateful to her. She is willing to go through fire and water for her grand plan, no matter what. Haha, very good. After patting her shoulder, he said, the scholar's essence and blood, Grandma depends on you. Yes. Ouch. Fu Yueqi's cry of pain sounded. Don't look around. Fu Yueqi rubbed his butt and looked angrily at the cold-faced middle-aged man next to him who was holding a ruler in his hand. After the other person put the ruler up and prepared to hit him, his face changed and he quickly turned to look at the talisman on the table. Paper. After half a year, her cultivation level has already reached the same level as her sister, reaching the innate level. However, compared to when I only learned Dao boxing at the beginning, now that my cultivation level is higher, I have to learn more things. Painting symbols are one of them. Fu Yueqi felt uncomfortable every day when he had to face these troublesome and complicated eclipse texts. I don't know why my sister likes to draw these things so much. Looking at the focused Fu Qingfen next to him, Fu Yueqi sighed in his heart and began to hold his breath and concentrate on drawing the talisman. She had escaped countless times, but she could never escape from the clutches of the hateful master. As time went by, appointments were made. Not far away, under a willow tree, Su Junming was lying on a lounge chair and ignored his two young disciples. At this moment, he was holding a pair of bay leaf sutras in his hands, meditating quietly. The small Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra is so mysterious. It is not inferior to Chi Yu's Three-Pan Sutra and the Heavenly Demon's White Bone Sutra obtained from the old demon of Montenegro. These three scriptures are the only three scriptures in his hand that involve the cultivation methods above the immortal path. The three parts were taken together, which allowed him to realize the cultivation method above the immortal path of the Yuan Yang Zhenjing compiled by himself. However, there are too few references, and compared to the authentic Suanmen, the foundation is still somewhat inferior. However, he was not in a hurry. There will always be opportunities to obtain more immortal cultivation methods in the future. Put away the B Sutra and hear the story of Yan Shixia. Fate is really magical. He actually met Ning Keichin and Nai Xiaoqian. Due to his past life, he was quite curious about the two of them. Without the old Black Mountain demon, with Yan Shixia's ability, it shouldn't be difficult to take down the Locust Tree demon. He touched his chin and waved his left hand, and a big black hole appeared in front of him. As his understanding of Huishan Taoism became more and more profound, it became easier and easier to open the space channel. A figure in black robes flew out of his sleeves and disappeared into the space passage. Suddenly Su Junming's heart moved. He got up and went to the backyard. There was a lotus pavilion here. After stepping up and using his fingers, the spiritual light was brilliant. As a huge amount of spiritual energy was swallowed, a space passage spanning tens of thousands of miles was opened. Stepping forward, the next moment they arrived at the location of the Daihuang Mountain Cave Tian cross-border teleportation formation. After briefly feeling the changes in the cave sky, I took a step forward and arrived at the location of the Phoenix Egg at Suzaku Peak. At this moment, the tide of spiritual energy that Phoenix Egg swallowed was already extremely vast. Every time they rise and fall, there is a wave of spiritual energy rolling in from somewhere. Master. Feeling Su Junming's arrival, a powerful spiritual consciousness emitted from the Phoenix Egg. Are you awake? Yes. When will he be born? Disciple doesn't know either, but it will probably take a long time. Su Junming nodded. It is not easy to refine an innate Taishi Ice Chi. I have accepted Fu Yun's two daughters on your behalf. They are both extremely qualified. They can both repay karma and pass on your legacy. Master, let me worry about it. He waved his hand and said, it would be fun to teach them something when you have nothing to do. With a flick of his hand, a ray of spiritual light penetrated the Phoenix Egg. This is the three-corpse secret technique that I improved. If you want to come out early, you can practice it a little or two. Yes. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 412. Chapter 405, Fierce Fight with the Sephora Tree Demon. In the blink of an eye, Yan Shixia has lived in Lanruo Temple for almost half a month. In the past half-month, he had fought with the tree demon for more than 10 times, and with the many magic weapons in his hands, he had always maintained a draw. Neither side can do anything to the other. It was rare to encounter such a good opponent, so Yan Shixia was not in a hurry to eliminate it, but instead took the opportunity to hone her sword skills. Moreover, the fierce fighting promotes the absorption of the elixir, and the magic power improves faster than simply meditating. After taking a sip of the 5-poison wine, Yan Shixia showed a look of enjoyment on her face. Pull off a piece of roasted golden bear meat and stuff it into your mouth. The aroma of wine mixed with the aroma of meat is particularly tempting. Looking at Ning Keichin, who was swallowing his saliva, Yan Shixia threw the half-eaten bear paw away. Ning Keichin caught it in a hurry. Thank you, Master Yan. Seeing him wolfing down the food, Yan Shixia shook her head. This man was obsessed with the beauty of the female ghost and could not help himself. He tried to persuade him to go down the mountain and escape several times, but this man ignored him. Until now, he didn't bother to waste any more words. After eating and drinking, Yan Shixia flew to the temple to practice swordsmanship. Practice until the sun sets and night covers the earth. Drive the escaping light and fly to the mountain behind Lanruo Temple. With one stroke of the sword, endless sword light flew down to the ground like raindrops. A thunderous explosion sounded. Old tree demon, come out and fight your grandpa Yan for 300 rounds. A voice that was neither male nor female sounded from the ground. Yan Chixia, you stinky Taoist priest, grandma must give you a good look. Listening to the angry voice, Yan Chixia laughed, haha. Are you as timid as you are, worthy of being Grandpa Yan's opponent? I think it's better to surrender as soon as possible and kowtow to your grandpa a few times. Grandpa, once I'm in a good mood, I might as well let you live. After he finished speaking, the earth was quiet, and no tree roots of the old demon came up. Yan Chixia frowned. When did this old demon change his temper? In the past, when the old tree demon didn't come out, all he had to do was provoke him, and he was sure to make the old demon go crazy and run out to fight with him. But now, Yan Chixia activated Xian Yuan sword, and the sharp sword energy slashed the mountain behind Lanruo Temple. Then she greeted the 8 generations of the old tree demon's ancestors. As a result, the old monster made no move. Yan Chixia's heart sank after struggling for a while, but with no results. Returning to the main hall, I felt the strong ghost energy inside. Anger suddenly arose in my heart. You monster, how dare you bully us? Look at the sword. Master Yan, please show mercy. Looking at the figure in front of her, Yan Chixia pointed her sword at her, concealing her magic power and filling her eyebrows with anger. Boining, you are crazy, she is a ghost. And she is a resentful ghost who has been practicing for hundreds of years. I know Xiaoqian is a ghost, but she has never killed a good person. Ning Keichin opened his arms. Although the 3-foot-long Xian Yuan sword was pressed against his head, he still stubbornly protected the seemingly delicate white figure behind him. You fart, you can't see it clearly with your naked eyes. But a certain family can clearly see that the resentment in this female ghost is so strong that it almost condenses into a canopy. From this, it can be seen that many people have died in her hands. Only a fool like you thinks she is a good ghost. No, Xiaoqian was originally an official, but she met a bandit on the road and was humiliated to death. That's why she hates lustful people so much. She only kills those libertines who can't withstand the temptation of beauty. She never kills good people. Yan Chixia laughed angrily. If you can't resist the temptation of beauty, you should die. 99% of men in the world will die. Moreover, if you can kill someone whenever you have a suitable reason, then why do you need laws? Master Yan, Nai Xiaoqian knows that her sins are serious and cannot be redeemed by death. However, Keichin and I truly love each other and have no intention of causing any harm. I hope that Master Yan will understand clearly. Humph, humans and ghosts have different paths. Even if what you say is true, you can't become husband and wife, and you can't be a couple. Moreover, ghosts are inherently filled with resentment, hatred, yin energy, and evil spirits. Practitioners dare not approach them, let alone a mortal. If you stay with him, within half a year, this silly boy will definitely die due to the decline of his yang energy. I am willing. As long as I am with Xiaoqian, I am willing, even if it is only for one day. After Ning Keichin finished speaking loudly, he turned his head and held Nai Xiaoqian's hands. Keichin. Seeing the affectionate expressions of one person and one ghost, Yan Chixia felt a fire in her heart but couldn't let it out. It's hard to persuade those damn ghosts with good words. I'm too lazy to care about you. He straightened up and went straight up into the blue clouds, intending to hide quietly. But an inexplicable warning came to mind. The monk's spiritual sense was extremely sharp. Yan Chixia activated the phantom bronze mirror in her danchan to look around. When she saw the situation in the main hall, she immediately became furious. Old demon, how dare you! Flying down, Ning Keichin and Nai Xiaoqian stood opposite each other in the main hall. The affectionate look on the latter's face had long since disappeared, replaced by a face full of ferocity and bloodlust. Qinqinsu's hand even penetrated Ning Keichin's chest and took out his heart. Looking at Yan Chixia flying over in a hurry, Nai Xiaoqian's voice sounded neither male nor female. Hey, Yan Chixia, Grandma, I have been planning for half a month, but I finally made the best move. Yan Chixia's face turned ugly when she saw the talisman flashing above Nai Xiaoqian's head. Puppet talisman. You do have eyesight, but, it's too late. Holding Ning Keichen's heart, he controlled Nai Xiaoqian and sank into the ground in an instant. Yan Chixia was furious. This old tree demon had never set foot in the temple this month. She thought there was something in the temple that was holding it down. Only now did I realize that it was all a trap set up by this monster. In the end, he was tricked. Although he looked down upon Ning Keichen's indecisive temperament, the death of a man with meritorious deeds in front of him still made him furious. Although he doesn't know how to escape from the earth, he still has the Hushan talisman. Chasing the old demon's aura, he went straight into the ground. Soon, they went hundreds of feet deep and came to the huge underground cave. Looking at the ocean-like human and animal skeletons under the huge tree canopy, Yan Chixia seemed to hear the wails of the undead, so miserable that it penetrated her heart. After being shocked, a nameless anger shot straight from his heart to Tianling. Old monster, someone will cut off your roots today. Choke, the Xianyuan sword was unsheathed. Yan Chixia formed her sword fingers with her hands, and the vast sword energy soared into the sky. White tiger sword style. The Xianyuan sword, which was nearly 100 feet in size, was like a giant pillar holding up the sky, slashing straight at the huge locust tree standing in the sea of bones. Ha, Yan Chixia. Grandma and I are just pretending to be a draw with you for today's plan. Now that I have obtained the essence and blood of the 9th generation boy, as long as I absorb and refine it, my demon pill can be refined to remove impurities. Go one step further and accumulate enough foundation for advancing to the realm of Yuan Shen. If you know the truth, you should leave early. Otherwise, Grandma will skin you and cramp you today, drain your essence and blood, and turn you into bones. You will never be reincarnated for eternity. Old demon, a certain family must kill you today. Stubborn. Look at my magical power. Within the canopy of the huge locust tree, there are countless black rat hands, twisting like snakes, and the overwhelming Xianyuan sword greets Yan Chixia. This jet black rattan was similar to the one he cut off with the Hushan spirit talisman when he first faced off against the tree demon. But last time there was only one, this time there are countless. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded. Although Yan Chixia's Xianyuan sword is sharp, these jet black rattans are not only extremely tough, but also numerous in number. He could cut off hundreds of roots, but he couldn't cut off thousands. Haha, Yan Chixia, you can't escape this time. Thousands of thick tree roots shrouded it from all directions, and the dense formation was like a rolling black wave. Yan Chixia took a deep breath. With a thought in his heart, a butterfly as big as the mouth of a bowl, as if carved from fine sapphire, flew out of his sleeve. King Yu, prepare to merge. The sapphire butterfly's aura flickered, as if responding. Yan Chixia changed her hand gestures. Control all beasts, merge the true spirits, and change. One person and one butterfly shine brightly and quickly merge into one. A pair of 5-foot-long butterfly wings grew out of Yan Chixia's back, and her own magic power became several times stronger. This was his understanding of the original sutra of controlling all beasts given by Su Junming. With the help of the phantom of the bronze mirror in his danshan, his cultivation of the sutra was second only to the way of the sword. Control the sword with qi, Qinglong sword style. The Xianyuan sword is brilliant and the sword energy surges. Driven by sufficient magic power, the innate sword energy of the jade sword butterfly combined with the power of Xianyuan sword's high-grade magic weapon, the power that explodes in an instant is earth-shattering. In the blink of an eye, the bright sword light was like the sun rising in the east, illuminating the entire underground space. The vast sword energy condensed into a 1,000-foot giant sword and slashed down in the air. Boom boom boom. Endless black tree roots condensed into a dense network, tightly covering the whole body. Flying phoenix sword style. White tiger sword style. Dragon sword style. He unleashed the 9 swords of Xianyuan without any reservation, and waves of sword energy, like a great tide, overwhelmingly slashed towards the tree demon's body. The tree roots and black vines were constantly being cut off. The ocean of bones stirred up huge waves. The sound in the cave was like thunder, and large boulders were shattered and chopped down by the tyrannical sword energy and explosive energy. After a duel, the huge tree crown of the Sephora tree demon shrunk by more than half. The tree body, nearly 100 feet thick, was crooked, and a slanted sword mark almost cut it into 2 pieces from top to bottom. Yan Chixia was holding the Xianyuan sword and barely standing on a boulder that had fallen from the cave roof. Looking at his pale face and panting, it was obvious that he was not relaxed. Ahem, haha, Yan Chixia, you are really powerful. You are only at the 9th level of the Golden Core, but you can fight like this with me who is almost at the nascent soul perfection. If you wait a few more years and your cultivation level goes further, I can't say that I am really good at it. Not your opponent. But now, go to hell. The Dryad urged all the remaining vines and roots, hundreds of them, to spurt out together. Yan Chixia saw this and wanted to fight against the enemy, but her dantian was empty. But as Su Junming's disciple, of course he still has the means to save his life. He gritted his teeth and was about to take action. A broad hand stretched out from behind and held his shoulder. I was startled, and I was about to draw my sword and strike back, but after feeling the familiar aura, I suddenly relaxed. Turning around, he saw the figure standing behind him. Yan Chixia said respectfully, "Master." Although Su Junming came with the help of Shang Situ's puppet body, his soul aura was indeed his own. Yan Chixia knew that her master was good at puppetry. She had seen his Guan Hongxia puppet body the last time she became a disciple in Zhongzhou City, so of course she would not admit his mistake. After patting his shoulder with a smile, Su Junming had a flash of inspiration in his palm, and a tattered black flag appeared. Grabbing the spiritual flag and shaking it, the world shook in an instant, the spiritual light surged, and the billowing Xianming Qi filled the entire cave. In just a moment, the tree demons, bones, ghosts, and the obscure aura accumulated over thousands of years in the cave were swept away. Yan Chixia looked at everything around her, looking a little dazed. If they hadn't experienced it personally before, no one would have imagined that this seemingly devoid of yin energy had just been the lair of a nascent soul demon. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 413. Chapter 406 300,000 Good Deeds. Seeing that powerful tree demon, with its sea of bones, it was like snow under the bright sun, quickly disappearing under the shroud of black Xianming Qi. Although Yan Chixia had long known that her master was amazingly powerful, this crushing victory still made him a little stunned. Looking at the long black flag in his master's hand, it was no more than 7 feet long and about 3 feet 3 inches wide. It was completely black and covered with large and small holes and gaps. "Master, what kind of treasure is this? It's so powerful." Su Junming looked at the black flag in his hand and swallowed the bone essence accumulated here for thousands of years, as well as the tree demon, so that the black flag recovered a lot. However, there is still a long way to go before it can be completely restored. The name of this treasure is Netherworld Bone Flag, and it is a low-grade innate spiritual treasure. Low-grade innate spiritual treasure. Seeing his confused look, Su Junming smiled faintly. Everything in the world is divided into innate treasures, and the same goes for magical treasures. The innate magical treasures are called innate spiritual treasures, and they are divided into low-grade, medium-grade, high grade and top grade. And the lowest grade innate spiritual treasures are also higher than get a top-notch magical weapon. The ultimate immortal weapon. This netherworld bone flag is so powerful. Seeing his unbelievable look, Su Junming smiled and said, "The power of the innate spiritual treasure is indeed amazing, but the most precious thing about such treasures is that they can help people realize the Tao." Yan Chixia thought thoughtfully, just like the treasure of our sect. Su Junming understood that he was talking about the bronze mirror of his Danshan. After thinking about it for a while, he nodded. Although he still doesn't know the name of the bronze mirror, there is no doubt that it is an innate spiritual treasure. As for what level it is, I can't guess based on his current cultivation and realm. But it is definitely much better than the netherworld bone flag. It's a pity that although this netherworld white bone flag is an innate spiritual treasure, it was broken in the ancient war. After I got it, I only repaired it a little. Up to now, I can only use 30 to 40% of its power. It's so special pity. I believe that with Master's great supernatural power, we will be able to repair this treasure flag. Haha, this is natural. After nodding, let's go up. Master, go and rest first. Disciple, please clean up the remnants of ghosts and monsters in this cave to prevent them from escaping and causing trouble. No need, under the netherworld bone flag, no ghosts or gods will be left behind. There are no demons or humans here anymore. Grabbing Yan Chixia's arm, she straightened up and the two of them arrived at the main hall of Lanruo Temple in an instant. Looking at the dead Ning Keichin, who was bleeding all over the ground, Yan Chixia remembered the past between the two and sighed inwardly. Although Ning Keichin has many problems such as being indecisive and addicted to women, he is kind-hearted, resolute and kind-hearted, which is indeed rare. Master, can this person be saved? Su Junming nodded. Fortunately, he died not long ago and people can still be saved. Yan Chixia looked happy and said quickly, Master, this son has profound merits and a kind heart. Please save his life, Master. After Su Junming nodded, he spread out his left palm, and a beating heart appeared in his palm. He had already sent and received the netherworld bone flag through his heart. After killing the tree demon, he took it away and kept Ning Keichin's heart. With a rush of magic power, his heart flew to Ning Keichin's chest. He stretched out his hand and a line of milky white magic power followed closely behind. It can be seen with the naked eye that after Ning Keichin's body absorbed the magic power, the flesh sprouts grew rapidly on his chest, and he soon recovered to his integrity. If it weren't for the rips in the clothes, the blood on the ground would still be bright red, almost making one doubt the authenticity of the previous scene. Su Junming flicked his fingers, and a ray of light penetrated Ning Keichin's eyebrows. Wake up! Ning Keichin slowly opened his eyes. Unlike Su Junming and Yan Chixia, he was as bright as day in their eyes even in the dark. Looking at the dim surrounding environment. Is this the legendary underworld? Boining, if my master hadn't taken action, you would have gone to the underworld to report. The sudden sound from the darkness frightened Ning Keichin into alertness. But the familiar voice made him feel a little relieved. Master Yan. Yan Chixia used a simple lighting spell, and instantly the entire main hall became as bright as day. Ning Keichin also saw the middle-aged man standing next to Yan Chixia, with his hands behind his hands, a calm expression and an extraordinary bearing. Think about it, is this Master Yan's master? When Ning Keichin looked at Su Junming, he was also looking at this famous person who was as famous as Su Xian before his rebirth. He is about medium height, with fair skin and handsome appearance, plus a gentle aura and clear and honest eyes. No wonder it makes a female ghost like Nai Xiaoqian fall in love with her. With this appearance, I won't worry that no woman will like her. Thank you, hero, for saving my life. Although Ning Keichin is simple and honest, he is not stupid. After seeing the situation around him and feeling the beating of his heart, he knew he was not dead. Coupled with Yan Chixia's words before, he soon knew who saved him. Su Junming nodded slightly. Get up. Fortunately, you died in a short time, otherwise I would have no way to save myself. However, Ning Keichin did not stand up. He knelt on the ground and moved forward 2 steps, clasping his hands into fists and looking at Su Junming hopefully. 2 heroes, may I ask if Miss Xiaoqian can be with you? Boining, I see you are really obsessed with the word sex. Just after you came back to life, you miss women, and you are also a murderous female ghost, Yan Chixia said angrily. It's rare to have a close friend in life. Xiaoqian and I know each other and are in love with each other. No matter who she is, I, Ning Keichin, will never let her down. You. Reaching out to stop Yan Chixia, who was about to explode with anger, Su Junming looked at Ning Keichin, who was kneeling on the ground with a determined expression. He could understand this person's thoughts. Looking at his clothes, you can tell that he must be a poor scholar who lives in poverty and is often despised and even beaten by others. Although he is kind-hearted, he is somewhat cowardly by nature, or has low self-esteem. Such a person, if he suddenly meets a beautiful, well-educated woman who will never leave him, even if she is a female ghost, she will definitely not give up. Nai Xiaoqian's soul is indeed in my hands. When he used the netherworld bone flag to kill the tree demon, Nai Xiaoqian's soul fell into his hands. As for the puppet talisman, in the hands of him, a Yuanying perfection monk who is skilled in this way, it was easy to remove. Ning Keichin's eyes lit up. My hero, please let Xiaoqian go. Ning Keichin is willing to be a bull and a horse. Thank you for your kindness. Su Junming shook his head slightly. Although Nai Xiaoqian's life experience is miserable and pitiable, she indulged her selfish desires and killed thousands of people in the past 100 years. You can't let it go just because of your words. Otherwise, wouldn't there be no justice in this world? Ning Keichin looked anxious, kneeled on the ground, and crawled forward a few steps until he was 3 feet in front of Su Junming's feet. My hero, have mercy. As long as I can let Xiaoqian go, Ning Keichin is willing to do anything. Are you really willing to do anything? Ning Keichin nodded resolutely. Seeing that you have deep love for Nai Xiaoqian, I will show mercy even outside the law. In the past 100 years, the total number of people killed by Nai Xiaoqian was 2,918. 100 good deeds per person means a total of 299,118 good deeds. If you can complete these 300,000 good deeds within 100 years, I will forgive Nai Xiaoqian's sins and let her reincarnate. Re-enter reincarnation. How about it, are you willing? Willing. Ning Keichin nodded solemnly. Su Junming spread his right hand, his mind flashed in his palm, and a thread-bound book took shape. Lines of text fell on the paper. After the aura subsided, a very simple book with a green leather cover, Buddhist scriptures and black text appeared in Su Junming's right hand. With a wave of his hand, a beautiful woman in a white dress flew out of Su Junming's sleeves. Xiaoqian. Ning Keichin's expression instantly became excited. Keichin. After Nai Xiaoqian landed, she hugged Ning Keichin. After the excitement between the two people calmed down a little, Su Junming said. Nai Xiaoqian, according to the crime you committed, you should be in a state of disgrace and never be reincarnated. But because of your miserable life experience, Ning Keichin is willing to use 100 years to do 300,000 good deeds to forgive your sins. Gu, I will temporarily forgive you. With a wave of his sleeve, Nai Xiaoqian's ghost body flew up involuntarily and fell into the book in Su Junming's right hand. Xiaoqian. Ning Keichin was about to arrest him, but was restrained by Su Junming's magic power and couldn't move at all. Nai Xiaoqian's soul has been imprisoned in this book by me. You need to recite the words above all the time and diligently comprehend them. The deeper you meditate and the more you recite, the more the hostility in Nai Xiaoqian's body will be resolved. When you complete your 300,000 good deeds, it will be the day when your merits will be complete and Nai Xiaoqian will be reincarnated. After coming into contact with Ning Keichen's imprisonment, he waved his hand and the book fell into his palm. It was like a treasure that couldn't be exchanged for $1 million, held firmly in his palm. Thank you so much, hero. Ning Keichen is very grateful. Su Junming nodded, and with a wave of his hand, a 7-foot-long, dark brown wooden stick, about the thickness of an adult's thumb, fell in front of him. This wooden stick is used to sow grass and repel snakes for you. Come down the mountain now. With a wave of his sleeves, a strong wind flew up and picked up Ning Keichen, flying out of Lanruo Temple and landing at the foot of the mountain. After landing, he stood firm, picked up his book basket, put the scriptures containing Nai Xiaoqian into his arms with great care, picked up the wooden stick, and bowed 3 times to the location of Lanruo Temple before stepping away. Take long strides and walk towards the distance. Above Lanruo Temple, looking at his retreating back, Yan Chixia turned her head. Master, do you want to accept Ning Keichen as your disciple? With his eyesight, he could naturally see that both the scripture and the wooden staff behind were spiritual weapons. And the content in that sutra is the general outline of the Tao of creation. Although there is no method of cultivation, people with high understanding can understand the method of cultivation from it. Su Junming shook his head. Then what is your arrangement? It should be a test. This 9th generation boy has excellent innate talents. If he can understand destiny and complete 300,000 good deeds, his character and perseverance will both be the best choice. When the time comes, let your 3rd senior sister being her disciple can also pass on her traditions. I see. But what if he fails to complete the test? If you can't finish it, you can't finish it. I gave him the opportunity. Who can blame me if I can't seize it? If I hadn't seen Ning Keichen's profound merits and kind heart. It's someone he's familiar with, so he won't give him a chance. By the way, the Longjiang Shui Clan Dragon Palace Immortals Association will be held in half a year. If you want to go, you can join us as a teacher. Yan Chixia waved her hand. I've never been interested in such lively things. It's better for Master to go on his own, and I'll continue to travel around my world. Su Junming nodded. Forget it, please contact me if you have any questions. Activating the magic power, the escaping light soared into the sky and quickly disappeared into the horizon. Yan Chixia looked at it in a daze, then looked away, and then looked at Lanruo Temple shrouded in night, with the escaping light falling. Although there are no monsters here anymore, he, who has just made a breakthrough in cultivation, wants to use this place to be clean and practice for a while before continuing to travel. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 414. Chapter 407, The Divine Tribulation. After returning from Lanruo Temple and temporarily leaving the teaching of the Fu sisters to Chiao Shaoxin, Su Junming began to retreat. His magic power has long reached perfection in the nascent soul realm, even more so with his physical body. After years of hard work, it's time to prepare for the tribulation. 3 months later, in the cave of Daihuang Mountain, Su Junming, who was sitting cross-legged on the thunder peak of Taishi Cave, slowly opened his eyes and looked into the sky with a deep gaze. With the support of the spiritual power absorbed by the phoenix egg from the underworld, the area of the Daihuang Mountain Cave has increased a lot. Looking around at this moment, the sky is high and the clouds are vast, and it is extremely magnificent. 90 years. It's finally time to advance to the soul. Su Junming sighed secretly in his heart. Although he still looks like he is 24 or 5-year-old on the surface, he is actually an old guy who is over 60 years old. It's just that he practices martial arts and magical powers and his body is strong, so he looks young. Shaking his head slightly, he collected the complicated thoughts in his heart, his mind was empty, and he completely let go of the suppression of his own mana and blood. With a boom sound, Fierce energy and blood rose into the sky like wolf smoke, and within hundreds of feet around it, it was like falling into a furnace. The powerful mana is like a rolling ocean tide, rising up and shaking the world. Su Junming was intoxicated by the feeling of being free from restraint. However, the once cloudless sky in the Daihuang mountain cave suddenly became turbulent, and endless black clouds, like galloping horses, covered the sky in the blink of an eye. With Zhenliyi Peak as the center, thunderclouds were rolling within thousands of feet around, lightning streaks were forming, and the world was filled with a chilling atmosphere. The monks cross the spiritual tribulation. It is divided into three types: thunder tribulation, fire tribulation, and wind tribulation, each with 12 paths. The thunder tribulation is fierce, the fire tribulation is intense, and the wind tribulation corrodes the bones. Each one is stronger than the last. If there is a thunder tribulation that cannot be passed, it will be the end of death. Therefore, the Yuan Shen tribulation is more difficult to overcome than the Yuan Ying tribulation. This is also the main reason why there are so few Yuan Shen monks. Boom, thunder rolled across the sky and earth, and thunder snakes entangled themselves. Click. The calamity thunder, which had given birth to enough thunder power, fell straight towards Su Junming, who was sitting cross-legged. 1 foot wide, the lavender thunder, like a thunder dragon, swallowed Su Junming's mouth instantly. The rolling thunder tore at Su Junming's body crazily. A slight pain spreads along the nerves to the bottom of my heart. His physical body had long reached the perfection of the nascent soul realm, and now it had been polished for many years. Although the nascent soul thunder tribulation was strong, the first one was unable to do anything to him. After the thunder tribulation, boundless fire burst out from a range of 1 foot. The lavender flame burned violently, twisting the surrounding air, and the high temperature of nearly 1,000 degrees was about to burn Su Junming. However, like the thunder tribulation, the first fire tribulation did not pose a great threat to him. After the fire tribulation, the sinister wind that corroded bones blew in from the top door, and the muscles, bones, meridians, and internal organs were blown by this sinister wind, as if they had been cut by countless knives. Fortunately, Su Junming practiced the Panhuang Sutra, and the bodybuilding technique was a combination of the strengths of all the masters. Not only the muscles, bones, and blood vessels, but also the internal organs were as strong as fine steel. He quickly withstood the bone-eroding wind. The first one stopped for only a dozen seconds, and the second one, which was also lavender but was 3 feet wide, struck down again. The power of the tribulation thunder increased several times, but it still couldn't deal with the physical body that Su Junming spent countless resources to train. The same is true for fire and dark wind. The third heavenly tribulation has reached 6 feet. The fourth heavenly calamity is 9 feet. The fifth heavenly tribulation has reached 12 feet. The sixth heavenly tribulation reached 15 feet. The seventh heavenly tribulation reached 18 feet. Of course, the same is true for the seventh wave of gold-melting fire and bone-corroding wind, which are 18 times more powerful than the first wave. Su Junming relied on his extremely powerful body, which he had trained for many years, to resist until the end of the seventh tribulation thunder. These 21 tribulations of thunder, fire, and wind were like the most exquisite forging hammer in the world, forging out the excess impurities in Su Junming's body bit by bit, making his body stronger and his magic power more refined. Pure. The eighth calamity thunder has reached 21 feet. The majestic lavender thunder, like a giant sword in the hand of a god, fell down with a crash. Having already tested his physical limits, he certainly didn't want to resist any longer. He stretched out his finger and saw a thunderous drum, as big as a mountain. The light shone and swallowed up the fallen thunder in an instant. Soon there was endless fire. 365 grains of yellow rice flew out from the 365 large holes in Su Junming's body. In a flash of light, all the flames were swallowed up. The bone-corroding sinister wind entered through the top door, and a bronze divine furnace flew from the Danshan into the Niwen palace. The 12 lotuses opened, and a powerful suction force exploded, swallowing up all the evil wind. The heavenly thunder drum, Yimen Huangliang, and Tiangong divine furnace, 3 spiritual treasures that he had painstakingly practiced for many years, lived up to his expectations and soon brought about the 8th heavenly tribulation. The 9th heavenly tribulation reached 24 feet. The 10th heavenly tribulation reached 27 feet. The 11th heavenly tribulation reached 30 feet. After the heavenly thunder drum, Yimen Huangliang and Tiangong divine furnace swallowed up the 11th tribulation, a heavy pressure pressed on Su Junming's heart. He instantly understood that his 3 spiritual treasures had reached their limit. If he did not refine the thunder, fire, and evil wind in them and continue to fill them, the treasure's spirituality might be depleted. After understanding, Su Junming did not force it. The treasures in his hands were not just these 3. The black clouds pressed lower, and streaks of thunder gathered in the middle. Soon, a 3-foot-sized thunderball appeared in the center of the black cloud like an eye. Under the surrounding black clouds, it shone with deep purple light, magnificent and mysterious. Su Junming looked solemn. Although this thunderball is only 3 feet long, the purple thunder is 10 times more powerful than the lavender thunder, and its power is incomparable. After accumulating enough energy, the dark purple thunderball floated towards Su Junming lightly. Compared with the previous 11 thunderstorms, this last thunderstorm looked like a plaything. But the more beautiful and ignored the existence is, the more powerful it is. To be cautious, Su Junming raised his hand, and the power of heaven and earth from Daihuang Mountain swarmed in. The Earth Emperor Dao God and Demon Seal. The intense purple light instantly surpassed the sunlight shining on the heaven and earth, followed by the thunder that sounded like the beginning of the world, exploding in the sky. The mighty shock wave, like a Category 12 hurricane, swept across thousands of miles in an instant, and only gradually weakened after thousands of miles. Su Junming's face instantly turned red, and a trace of blood dripped down the corner of his lips. As soon as his heart moved, the blood on the corners of his lips disappeared instantly. This last tribulation thunder is really powerful. Although he did not use all the power of heaven and earth in the cave of Daihuang Mountain, the power of this thunder disaster was still beyond his expectation. The next step is the fire disaster. 4 elephants sword formation. The 4 swords of slaying demons, slaying immortals, and slaying heavens flew out from the Danshan, and the 4 image array flew out from the top door. In an instant, the 4 elephant sword formation condensed out. The rolling fire burned, and the 4 image array rotated, slowly absorbing the flames. The strongest flame under this fairy fire has a temperature so strong that even the godly furnace cannot reach it. Soon, the 4 swords turned red under the scorching heat. Su Junming took the opportunity to import some of the collected spiritual materials, and with the help of this rare flame, he improved the practice of the 4 swords to a higher level. About there, the sword array blocked most of the flames, and after taking advantage of the rare opportunity to practice some practice, he quickly put it away. The remaining flames swarmed up instantly. In an instant, a heartbreaking pain hit his heart. Visible to the naked eye, his skin became scorched black, and countless blood-red cracks appeared on the surface of his body. The veins on Su Junming's forehead were tight and he couldn't help but groan. The essence and blood of Lord Huosang, which had been hidden in the yintang point between the eyebrows, rolled out. The powerful essence quickly replenished the muscle restraints burned by the calamity fire, but was soon burned away by the calamity fire. During this advance and retreat, his physical body gradually became stronger and surpassed the scope of nascent soul. Lord Huosang's essence and blood were extremely powerful, and just one pill took him directly from the early stage of Yuanying to the perfection of Yuanying. Although the martial arts training in the Yuan Shen stage requires dozens of times more resources than Yuanying, the 2 essence and blood pills of Lord Huosang made his physical body twice as powerful. After the calamity fire dissipated, Su Junming raised his arm and looked at the jade-white skin. An unprecedented tenacity and strength surged into his heart. Even though he was satisfied, he did not forget the last wind disaster. The fingertips changed. Disciple Su Junming, I respectfully invite Emperor Guansheng to come to me. I am as urgent as the law. The power of heaven and earth swarmed in, and the magic power in his body instantly became stronger. Su Junming clasped his two fingers together, facing each other, and his spiritual energy surged. Soon, a milky white jade purification bottle condensed in his Niwen palace. This is a great magical power recorded in the short Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra, called Pure Aquarius Seal. The demons and ghosts were sealed inside and could not escape. This magical power obviously fits the sealing avenue, so Su Junming quickly understood it after seeing it. The bone-corrosive wind blowing in from the top door was quickly absorbed and sealed by the pure vase seal. Su Junming, who was performing the divine fighting true technique, now reached the 7th level of Yuan Shen. His magic power was strong enough to maintain the pure Aquarius seal for a quarter of an hour. The last bone-eroding wind obviously couldn't last for a quarter of an hour. But just like the previous fire tribulation, he did not use the Aquarius seal to put away the last bit of the bone-corroding wind, but let it blow into his inner abdomen. Severe pain surged into my heart again. However, after being strengthened by 2 Huosang Lord Essence and blood pills, and the toughness of the internal organs increased to a higher level, the pain was obviously not as strong as before. No other supplements were needed, he was slowly able to bear the bone-corroding wind. When the pain subsided, although Su Junming looked pale, his expression showed great joy of breaking through the realm. 72 years after entering Taoism, I finally broke through to the realm of Yuan Shen.